Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
And I'm Trish.
And this week we'll be playing the next portion of Persona 2 Innocent Sin, which covers...
You could just look it up before we start recording.
Yeah, but that requires me to have remembered to do things like while I was speaking and saying this.
It's the fourth section.
The fourth section.
The fourth section? That doesn't sound right.
Is there a fourth episode?
Is it our fourth episode? See?
No, this is our fifth episode.
Fifth episode.
Whatever.
It is today's episode of Persona 2 Innocent Sin. But before we and this section covers everything up until the air raid by the Redacteds that show up. So we'll get there. But before we get there, how was everyone's week?
Fine.
I'm in hell. It's not that bad. It's just a lot at once. Here's the thing. I had two things happening that was a little bit of a lot. The two things that were happening were there's a lot of local organizing related stuff in a couple different categories that I'm having to do, and they're all they all coincidentally have a deadline by tomorrow at midnight. So it's been a whole week of I got to get a lot of stuff. It's a lot of phone calls, a lot of writing, a lot of talking on a group on a chat with someone about the phone call you're about to have with someone else, blah 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 blah. And there's also work stuff happening at the same time. I think I may have mentioned last time that I was worried that my pay had been cut even more than it was before. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but good news, it didn't actually. It was let's call it a mistake. It was correct that I didn't get paid that week. There was actually my bonus that week. There was a reason for it, but there also have been a lot of bugs and glitches and errors going on with people's pay, which is why I thought it was a very widespread problem. Turns out it's not. So, I was worried I was going to be in a lot of financial distress, and I'm not actually. I'm in the normal amount of financial distress, which means some. After my first supervisor got sacked because he was annoying and bad at his job and everyone hated him, and he was getting in arguments all the time with people, with both his subordinates and superiors, they replaced him with a guy who's been around a while, just in a different area, and he's a pretty cool guy and everyone likes him and he seems to do a good job. He also got suspended yesterday. I was like, where's Guy? And it's like, oh, he got suspended. And I was like, but we didn't even all hate him. Well, I don't know what he did. But R.I.P. to that guy. Anyway, so I've got all this stuff going on. And then next week I've got a vacation that I'm so excited about. But you know the problem with vacations is you have to plan them. So even though it's going to be fun, it's like, oh shit, never. Anyway, and then I found out that a personal emotional thing is happening in between these two things. So it's just like bop, bop, bop. So that's fun. Life is good. Oh, also a crisis happened yesterday that I'm not going to tell y'all what it was because it's a lot and it's upsetting, so I'm not going to tell you.
Cool.
It's chill though because next week is vacation week, so I'm going to be awesome. It's going to be fucking great.
My week was fine.
How was your week, Trish?
Pretty exhausting. Still working on lead up to moving.
When is that happening?
I get the keys in a little under a week, and then after that it'll be like 4 or 5 days after that is when the move happens.
Mm-hmm. And how long of an overlap do y'all have to do it?
Basically a day.
Oh,
that's
hate to see it.
So bad. It happened. I mean, it's happened to me multiple times, but good lord, it sucks.
One of the worst days of my life was when that happened.
Was that the one where it was me and you?
Yes.
God, that was the worst. Dude, that one was so bad because not only was it having to move in a day, but remember I started a new job literally that day. And I think, or the next day, so I couldn't help.
Yeah, it was pretty much all me.
You had to do a shocking amount of it all yourself, which definitely made me feel like shit. But at some point, I do believe that you ordered me to go to bed. You were like, "It's 3 a.m. You fucking moron! You have a literal second day of work tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay," which is the correct thing to do. Yeah, that sucked for you. It also did suck for me, to be clear. My second day at work, I was very sleepy and almost falling asleep. And you don't want to be falling asleep when you just started your job.
Anyway, hopefully your day of moving goes better.
Yep. Are you getting any help?
I'm getting moving company.
Oh, there you go. See,
That's how you do
the
it.
move. You always think to yourself, that's like a rich people thing. I shouldn't do that. No, it does not even cost that much money, really. Like
It really doesn't.
It's worth I've never done it, but next time I am going to. And it'll be
I
worth
also
every
don't
goddamn
have a-
penny.
I also don't have a car, so
Right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I thought about doing it because I did not want to move my family across the country all by myself in a trailer, but cross country moves suck.
Yeah, that's a
lot.
different situation.
That was like $4,000 versus a $200 U-Haul, and then it was about $1,000 IKEA bill to just replace all of our big furniture. So that was a lot easier.
You didn't just fit everything you owned, literally everything you owned, in a family sedan like Maddie Grace did to move across the country?
Hey, that's not true. I also utilized, I also mailed things, and I made extensive use of USPS Media Mail. I don't know if y'all know about that, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, media mail's great.
Yeah, if you're mailing anything that is considered media, which pretty much just means books, movies, not video games, because they're anti-gamer racist, and other things like CDs. It's like super cheap. I don't really know why. I guess the idea is just like we want people to be educated and get to have their books, and books are heavy as shit, so like that would cost a lot more money to ship, right? But you can put video games inside the books. Or inside the movies or CDs. See, you or just like you stack CD cases and movie cases beneath and on top of the games, and they never find them. Don't tell the government.
Speaking of books and also video games, today was the community-wide garage sale for both our neighborhood and the adjacent neighborhood. And the adjacent neighborhoods one was ran better because everybody had like identical signs that said that they were taking place and were doing it. And I was very frustrated driving through my neighborhood because the way ours did it is there was a list online of everybody's address that was doing it. In the first like 25, it was probably 6, but it felt like every single one for like half an hour didn't have anything outside, didn't have their garage open, didn't have anything. Like it rained a little today, and so I'm guessing that the people said, fuck you, I'm not gonna do a garage sale when it's raining outside. I don't care how long it's been planned or whatever. But there was no like, sorry, it's canceled. There was nothing. They just didn't take it down. They didn't do jack shit. So I wasted a lot of time driving around, and it made me upset. But, however, I did find a Xbox One controller that when I asked the person how much it was, he said, I don't even know what that is. I guess 50 cents. So that's a tip.
Let's go. You got it.
I also got Pokemon Yellow for $2 because it quote, didn't work, and it just looked like it had been dumped in like the raw soda syrup at the back of a food establishment. It was disgusting, but isopropyl alcohol, buddy, like easy breezy. And so I got to play a little bit of Pokemon Yellow on a DMG original Game Boy today, and
love it.
Feels great to be 5 again. Like, shout outs to be a tiny child. It warmed my heart. Then the last kick-ass find I found was the box set of the Star Trek movie VHS set from 1991, the 25th anniversary, including the box, like the fancy embossed silver with the certificate of authenticity signed by Gene Roddenberry. Got that for $20. It was pretty dope. So, shout outs
You're good at finding VHS tapes.
They're all over
you're
the place.
always having good shit.
I need to send a update of my collection, but it's rather large now, and I think all of the VHSs went to Wisconsin to die. I find them everywhere here, like oodles upon oodles of VHSs.
Oh, that's so fucking cool, man.
For a long time, my local Half Price Books had a box set of Twin Peaks on VHS sitting on the top shelf, and I looked at it longingly every time I went, but I never bought it.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking for like getting the almost complete set of Columbo Collector's Edition from the 90s has made me insane, and I think I want to try and get all of Dragon Ball Z on VHS.
No. Each one is like 2 episodes.
I don't think they ever got past the Cell Saga, but that's 3 of 4 sagas of Dragon Ball Z I could get on VHS, and that just sounds stupid, but they make a picture, and that's the secret to my heart is VHS tapes of a collection that make a picture on the spine.
That is the cool. We love or encyclopedias
Mm-hmm.
where they all make like a picture on the spine of like the Earth or some shit. Mwah.
The making a picture thing is very good, but
Remember when magazine spines did that when there were magazines?
Oh,
R.I.P.
do
or
remember
magazines.
that.
cereal. They still do it with cereal. We still have cereal, people. We're not totally, we're not totally like what's the word? Destroyed as a society. We still have cereal, but we still have Reese's Pieces or Reese's Puffs cereal, which is the most important thing about society. One more quick thing I want to mention, actually, and this is just because it's a pro tip. I'm starting on a little bit of renovation. My GF did a lot of cleaning up around these parts, and I decided to finally get rid of my move my what's it called? My Critical Race Theory television. So my little one that I was so proud of to get like a year ago, I moved it off of my desk because I don't really play it that often. And it's like, look, if I'm gonna be playing it, I'm gonna be playing like some kind of long game for many hours. So like, I'll just put it on the desk and it'll live there for a month, and then I'll take it back off when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
So I took my game consoles and my CRT off of my desk, and boy, does that free up a lot of space. So now I'm finally going to like Operation make myself a goddamn work desk. And the idea I have, and this is the part that's a pro tip, if you've ever wanted to have a large space to use as a whiteboard, and maybe you all already know this, but apparently shower board is the exact same material as like marker whiteboard. So you can just go to like Home Depot and get a big old shower board for like $20 or something and have an enormous freaking whiteboard. It's like your whole wall. So I'm going to do that behind my desk, and then I'll probably put like a cork board on part of it, just a section of it. So I can also like put stuff up like bulletin board style with pins. So basically I'm one step away from that Charlie Day meme.
When are you picking up your red yarn?
Yeah, no, but I've been thinking about it, and I think that having like because I work so much better with physical stuff than with like a million little Google Docs or group chats or calendars. So I'm gonna like make a big calendar and then have like visually like, oh, over here on the left side is this thing that I'm working on. Over here on the right side is this thing, and I might like pin or tape like pieces of paper, as like ad hoc as needed. I'm really excited about it. I didn't start doing it yet. I was going to yesterday, but then life got in the way. But I've been like thinking a whole lot about it, and hopefully maybe by like in like a week or two, I'll have this cool setup where I'm visualizing my fucking mind palace or whatever. But the main thing is the shower board thing. If you ever want a whole big ass wall that's like a dry erase board, that's what you do.
Nice.
Cool.
So, yeah, let's start talking about Persona 2 Innocent Sin. Let's listen to some of the kick-ass music from this kick-ass game, and then
stuff this week.
We'll start talking about it.
When we last left our heroes, they were suspected of being the terrorists behind the bombings, and the police have released composite sketches of them. To counter this, the people they saved at the Aerospace Museum are spreading the rumor that they're actually heroes fighting the terrorists. Which I guess isn't a rumor, it's just the truth. Totino's and Lisa arrive at the detective agency and find Yukino and Aikichi already there speaking with Okamura. They've convinced her that they're not in the last battalion and, in fact, do not even know what that is. On the TV, which I guess they left on, a panel reports on the bombings and the conflicting reports that the suspects are the terrorists or heroes fighting them. The anchorwoman says, "Some are claiming that it was the work of the remaining radicals of the Führer seeking ancient ruins hidden in Sumeru City." A military analyst says, "That's preposterous. There's no way this last battalion could exist. It's a baseless rumor, pure and simple." An occult magazine editor who got on this news panel says, "So you say, but there are accounts from around the globe hinting at its existence. Reliable witnesses say the Führer lives."
I feel like the fact that this occult magazine editor got on there is unfortunately a far too realistic thing. TV, news loves to just turn over the mic to fucking just people like that whenever they can.
Yeah, I mean, news always has to have both sides of an argument, even when one side of the argument is there's no last battalion led by Hitler seeking for ruins under the city, and one side is, yes, there is.
Yeah, it's the rumor thing is really turned much more into just like a, I don't know, it's almost a little bit MGS2-esque in its sort of exploration of just like, I don't want to use the word postmodernism because that's such an overused word nowadays and no one knows what it means anymore. And like, you got your freaking Jordan Peterson and shit like that. But
hey. It's not that no one understands what it means anymore. I have never understood what it means because modern just means today. So today is the future.
No, modernism is a movement, so postmodernism is a pushback against the modernist movement.
No, I agree. Okay, hold on. Let me put this in words that Sam can understand. Sam, remember when Five Iron Frenzy released their second album called Our Newest Album Ever?
Yes.
Now, is that still their newest album ever?
No, it's
not. Modernism was our newest album ever back when they invented modernism.
Okay.
Postmodernism was after that. Yeah, that's why postmodern literature is from like the literal 1940s. But anyway, in the roll back 15 years and pretend like we haven't ruined that word by this point. And it really is delving into a lot of like actual kind of postmodernist conceptions of truth and reality. It's very cool, actually.
No, yeah, I was gonna say I'll probably speak more about this during the episode, but I really liked this week's finally getting into that as a theme, and it is really less rumors, and it is. I would say what more it feels like what's going on is this idea that like, at least in this area that the game takes place, reality has kind of become a consensus. Like, if enough people believe something is true, it's just true now.
And here's the thing. That's also true in real life, just in a slightly less literal way.
Yes, exactly. And it's really fascinating to look at, and they play with that in a lot of really interesting ways.
Yeah, it's neat. I was having the same thought all week.
Yeah. Also, I want to point out, so this game exclusively refers to the character we all know and it will become very clear is Adolf Hitler. They exclusively refer to him as the Führer, and apparently, I tried to figure out why that is. There are basically two theories. One, you can find a ton of articles saying it was a localization thing, and the source for all of these articles, literally all of them, is a Did You Know Gaming video.
Oh my god.
I didn't watch that video. So that's one story. The other story is that there's some thing about the Japanese Sero ratings board that they don't want you to have real people, real historical figures in your game. So one of those two things. Either way, we all know who it is, but he's called the Führer.
So, we just passed the part that was the thing that I thought was a bug that I was telling you earlier. Did you see something? Did you see the foreshadowing that happened when one of your characters walked in, or has you just not talked about it?
I'm about to get to that, and I have a funny joke about it.
Okay, cool. Because it technically had already happened, I didn't know if you were taking artistic license.
No, it hasn't happened yet.
I swear she had already walked in, but either way, continue.
I'm the one who took notes.
It's true.
Anyway, Miss Okumura slaps the TV really hard and yells, "They're right! The last battalion does exist! It was them who killed Kashihara!" Maya finally shows up, and her eyes are red, and she's acting weird. It's probably just allergies. That's my joke about it.
Okay.
Her eyes are red, but also her field sprite doesn't have eyes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
That's what I thought was
just the allergies.
That's what I thought was the bug, because in a lot of sprite-based games that have like animated things, the face is a different sprite layer, and so I thought, just like the fact that still to this day, every time I go into a battle, it shows me the screen of when I loaded it up for the first time that day. I thought that her eyes didn't load in, like a sprite layer was missing. LOL, isn't this so funny, because no one was talking about it. But then it's one of those things where us in the audience are smarter than everyone else there, and they just didn't notice that she didn't have a face for a while.
She doesn't literally not have a face. She has a face in the portrait. I think it's just a thing. They make it a little different to make it feel weird and bad.
It feels off-putting. It's meant to give you a weird uncanny valley.
Weird and bad. But I didn't notice that her eyes were red in her talking head sprite, so that's why I thought it was a bug, because she starts talking and she has a face. So I was like, oh, obviously I'm just dumb. But
please tell me you picked up on the fact that she was acting weird.
Oh, absolutely. That's why. So I had taken a picture of it.
The fact that every line of dialogue she has feels like it has a maniacal laugh afterwards.
Yes. I had taken a picture of the screen to like post it in the Discord, but because I took a picture instead of screenshotting, the picture was like 39 bajillion megapixels on my iPhone, so it was too big for Discord, and I was like, fuck it, I don't care, I'm not going to do it. And then like 3 text box later, so I was like, oh, I'm stupid. This wasn't a bug. This was obviously on purpose. I am not smart. Let me tell the podcast how not smart I am.
Can I also say, because this is when this kind of pops up more, I really enjoy the fact that earlier in the game, when she first gets kind of talked about, I was getting the vibe from the Miss Ideal lady that like, oh, okay, so she's going to be the wise person who knows the secrets that no one else knows about. And it just turns out, no, actually, she's just a conspiracy theorist who believes some wacky shit.
She does know the secrets that no one else knows about, but I wouldn't call her wise.
She knows about secrets that are only true because of a book she wrote becoming a rumor.
That's true. Okumura asks the gang how they know about the Oracle of Maya, and the gang explains everything they've been through. Okumura says the mass circle must be the last battalion. The last battalion is an elite unit which helped the Führer escape in secret, an insane army with cutting-edge weaponry, and a powerful relic that absorbed Christ's blood, bent on enacting the Führer's grudge. Lisa seems to think the masked circle means something else, but Okamura continues. It's all in this book. Everything they're doing is in accordance with the Oracle of Maya in the In Lakesh. The Oracle of Maya was left by the Pleiades aliens who gifted humans with civilization. It's a message entrusted to us by the Mayans. Did you really think we evolved from apes on our own? The answers aren't in the history books. How did man come so far, so fast? There's evidence all over the world that their presence in ancient times. It proves that mankind was guided by an advanced race. Kashihara, who tried to prove it, was a kind man with a strong resolve and concrete dreams. I worked with Sudo-kun, the medium, and Kashihara. This book is the fruit of we three's dream. Underneath us is the netherworld, where the Mayans sleep. The starship Xibalba is there. All sorts of civilizations originated here. But the ancient Mayans that thrived here died in an intergalactic civil war. The victors were the Bolantiku race that controls Xibalba. The Mayan myths of South America prove it. Though that civilization is an ancient memory now, their ruins are all modeled on Sumeru.
She is the kind of character that all of this is very entertaining because I don't have to deal with her bullshit. But if I was a person in the room with her, I would have to just look at everyone else and be like, can she leave?
Yeah.
Do we have to
one of my favorite kinds of character. It's like it's like one day you're watching Gilmore Girls and you've seen like 50 episodes already. Then all of a sudden you jolt up and you're like, wait, everyone at Luke's Diner fucking hates these people. They are insufferable. Like, we think they're funny because they're the main characters and they're charming and witty with their little quips. But imagine being anyone else in that room besides Lorelai and Rory and Luke. You would want to kill yourself. Like, that's how this is. Also, I want to point out, when did this game originally come out? 98?
I think 98.
It's very funny because not only do we have Xibalba, we also have this elaborate thing about a crystal skull, and I'm like, did George Lucas write this?
99.
Okay, did George Lucas write this? He's like, I'm getting out some of my ideas. You'll see him later when I make the fourth fucking Indiana Jones movie. It's in the same scene. Nah, it's pretty good.
I remember enjoying it quite a bit. But yeah, no, it feels like everyone's forgotten the movie exists, though.
So Tamaki plays along and asks why the Masked Circle / Last Battalion is trying to get at Xibalba. Okamura continues, because when the Oracle is fulfilled, Xibalba and the Crystal Skulls will grant mankind's ultimate dream. It will end in us becoming Idealians, a transhuman state where we will understand the true meaning of life. Maya's like, sounds good to me. Okamura says, it's far from good. In exchange for the evolution of a few, mankind will perish. Organisms evolve when they face extinction. When the Bolantiku thought forms take physical bodies, they will bring destruction to all. That's why we didn't go public with this. On the TV, the Occult magazine editor is like, hey, we're publishing a cool new book called In Lakesh, with shocking truths about the Last Battalion and UFOs. Okamura freaks out and wonders if Sudo-kun went public with it. Lisa says this is all a lie. The Masked Circle is... ... Aikichi, you remember, don't you? Playing the Masked Circle? Aikichi says that was something in his dreams, but he seems to have a realization. Lisa says, I've been desperately trying to convince myself that it was just a dream, but it was real. She turns to Totino's and says, please, come with me to the Alaya Shrine. I'll tell you the truth about the Masked Circle, about Joker, everything. Totino's is very eager to learn the truth about anything happening in this game. So, at this point, we can talk to Okamura to find out a lot more about this nonsense. And I thought this all sounds like it's probably going to be relevant, so I'm including it.
I wasn't sure if you were going to or not. Okay, cool.
Totino's asks about Kashihara. Okamura says Kashihara was a history teacher at Sevens, but was crushed to death in the clock tower's gears. She is sure the Last Battalion killed him. Totino's asks about Sudo, who we might remember is the name of King Leo. Okamura says Sudo-kun was a troubled student at Sevens, afraid of his father, hearing voices, rumored to be an arsonist, All the typical troubled student stuff. Kashihara realized Sudo was a medium capable of hearing the voices of the Mayans. Sudo shared what he learned with Kashihara, and it became the Oracle of Maya. She is sure Sudo betrayed them and told the last battalion about Xibalba. Now Totinos asks about the Mayans. Okamura says the bad Mayans, the Bolantiku, defeated the good Mayans, the Oxlahuntiku. Their war consumed the solar system and is the source of the common legend of the Great Flood. But the Bolantiku ran out of power and went into a slumber. They sleep below the city, absorbing ideal energy and dreaming of the day they will awaken. She says ideal energy is the Mayan source of power, and the crystal skulls were planted in our history to collect it. Now Totinos asks about the Führer. Okamura says, the greatest and worst dictator of the century. You know that much, I hope. But do you know why he started a world war? His true goal was to drive man to the brink of extinction and hasten our evolution. He said so himself. He's an immortal sorcerer who learned magic from Mayan mystics. He craved the secrets of ruins around the world. You probably learned in school that he killed himself, but he's very much alive. There are countless rumors saying so. And now he's figured out the secret behind Xibalba. He'll surely act on it to realize his dream of becoming a god. Finally, Totinos asks about the last battalion itself. Okamura says it's a fearsome army based out of the South Pole or South America. Somewhere south, I'm sure. They have cutting-edge technology and superhuman units waiting to strike. She goes on to say, the most fearsome of them all is the core of the last battalion, a secret unit called the Order of the Holy Lance. This Order of the Holy Lance supposedly discovered the Spear of Destiny, a relic of Christ's miracle. It is said that whoever possesses the Spear of Destiny will rule the world. You must be careful. So for a little historical context, the Holy Lance, a.k.a. the Spear of Destiny, a.k.a. the Lance of Longinus, refers to the spear that pierced the side of Jesus as he hung on the cross during the crucifixion. And the actual Nazis did actually seize one of the relics claimed to be the Holy Lance. And some will tell you that Hitler believed it had mystical powers, though this is probably not true.
Where did the Nazis seize that from? Do you know?
Vienna.
The internet.
Interesting, because I learned somewhat recently because of a podcast that either that exact same lance or maybe another one, because people will just literally make up relics all the time, be like, I found a relic, was found during I think the First Crusade's assault on Antioch. I think was it? I don't know if it was Antioch or not. But anyway, there was a whole thing where they were getting owned really, really, really bad, and rightly so. Fuck the Crusaders, they're a bunch of dumbasses. But sadly, they managed to rally, and one of the guys was like, I had a dream that we were gonna find the fucking Lance of Longinus, in a bush or something, and then they did find it, and then they won, and then everyone was like, wow, this guy's a prophet, and then he became a major threat. He became a major alternative power center in the military hierarchy, and eventually he became too much of a pain, so they had to get him. But anyway, I'm wondering if it's the same one.
I don't know. If you go to the Wikipedia page for the Holy Lance, it lists 4 different ones.
Exactly, yeah, it could be. But, it could have made its way to Vienna. Also, more historical context, Hitler and the, Mecha Nazis or whatever, hanging out in something south makes perfect sense, although it shouldn't. Where is the Mayan civilization located?
I don't know exactly.
Central America, I believe.
That's what I thought, yeah. Well, they're obvious, so it's a little bit off, but that could be a knowing wink to all the Nazis that went to Argentina and still live there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, it's probably a wink to the actual many, many real-life conspiracy theorists who believe that Hitler didn't die and, in fact, faked his death and went to South America.
Yeah.
That is a real conspiracy theory that is extremely popular.
I knew that, but I didn't know about the South America part. But the South America part's real, though, is the thing. That's why he would have gone there, because of all the actual Nazis that went to South America.
Oh, yeah, no, it's full of Nazis.
Yeah. Sorry, if you ever meet a person with a German name who says they're from Argentina, watch out. They probably live in a weird Nazi commune. Or it did.
Anyway, we can also get a lot of info on Kashihara from Todoroki, but we've got to cut something out because this is going to be a real long episode, so we're skipping that. As the gang leaves, Okamura entrusts the Inlakesh to Totinos and tells him to prevent the oracle written therein from being fulfilled. And that's cool, but also he probably could have bought it literally anywhere. It's all over the city. Speaking of the city, the entire fucking city has new dialogue, but we don't have time for that.
We really don't.
It is so crazy how much dialogue is in this game.
This is why I love this era.
Levels.
This is why I love this era of RPGs. They didn't have all the voice acting yet. They didn't have all the modern graphics yet that took so much, like CG graphics that take like so much man hours just to like make a functional game. So they're games that are still made using an older style of technology, you know, have just, we said the same thing for Suikoden too, you know, like this era of games just has staggering amounts of just content, just like depth, which you don't get nowadays because it takes so much effort just to make the damn game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Especially games that didn't try and push the envelope graphically, because graphics cost a lot of space and you only have 600 megabytes on a disk. But if you have simple 2D graphics with small little areas like this, you're not using up a whole lot of disk space for a lot of things. You can just literally put in text, which is one character is like 1 byte. So you got a whole lot of room for a whole lot of words.
And you can even imagine like it's based on how the game's workflow goes, you know, like I don't really know how the game's workflow, how these games workflow, their pipelines would go, but like you can imagine like towards the end of of the development of the game, if somebody wants to change up a line because they thought of something good, they just go in there and fucking change it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like in fact, Dragon Quest guy Yuji Horii once said that that's why Dragon Quest games aren't voice acted. Even the much later ones and other games were voice acted. He's like, because I really like to be able to go in there and fiddle with the script, even very, very, very near the end of the game's development cycle. And with Dragon Quest VII, the reason that game is so insanely goddamn long is that they were making it, and they kept making it, and they just kind of kept making it. And it ended up being way more than they had originally expected because they just kept coming up with new ideas and writing them. And because the game's pretty graphically like primitive, like it was very easy to just implement more shit. Anyway, yeah, shout outs to this whole vibe. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So the gang heads to the Elia Shrine. At the shrine, Lisa says, "There was a fire at this shrine once. It's rumored you can see the ghost of the girl who died here. You know about that, right? We can't hide from it anymore, Aikichi. We know who that girl is. We know about Big Sis." Maya says if Lisa has a sin to confess, she should do so. A yellow butterfly appears. The gang is transported back into Philemon's space gazebo. Philemon says they are now ready to face their forgotten past and to go to the cavern behind the shrine in Mount Iwato, where the reflecting pools will show them their past. The gang enters Mount Iwato. Lisa says, Do you still not remember? Totinos, our summer vacation 10 years ago? This cavern was our secret hideout. Aikichi says, This can't be. I saw this place all the time in my dreams. It's really here. The ghost of a schoolgirl, who we recognize from the museum flashback, briefly appears. Lisa asks if Totino still doesn't remember. She says he'll remember if they go deeper into the cavern. At one reflecting pool, we see a flashback of 4 young children meeting at a festival, all while wearing Power Ranger masks. It's not literally the IP Power Rangers, but it's... What's that genre called?
Sentai.
Sentai, yes, they're Sentai masks.
Well,
Super Sentai.
Technically, Sentai is the franchise. The genre is Tokusatsu.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, right, yeah.
My girlfriend would have murdered me if he'd heard me get that wrong.
I literally completely forgot about that detail. But anyway, the kids are recognizable as Totinos, Aikichi, Lisa, and the weird boy who exchanged treasures with Totinos in a flashback long, long ago.
I don't know why I don't know why I want to talk about this, but I do. So flashback to Aikichi when he was a kid, and he was kind of a big kid, and I literally was just kind of left feeling like, okay, but why can't he be plus size like in present? Why can't he be chubby punk?
Yeah.
That would have been good.
Mm-hmm. The four bond quickly and decide to form a secret club who wears their masks when they meet up to play. The mysterious fourth child suggests the name The Masked Circle. As the gang explores the cavern, they find the old masks hidden away. They see more flashbacks of their child selves playing Masked Circle at the shrine. One day, they arrive at the shrine and find an older girl there. They ask what she's doing there. Baby Lisa immediately calls her Big Sis, which is a more normal thing for a little kid to call a random older kid in Japanese, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's here to pray to become what she wants to be in the future. Baby Lisa says, "Oh, neat, but if you join the Masked Circle, you can be whatever you want right now." Baby Aikichi says, and Baby Aikichi is like really nervous and stutters and stuff. I think it's so cute.
It's so adorable.
He says, "Whatever the boss of the Masked Circle says goes. The boss gets to decide what everyone does and becomes." The girl thinks the kids are really cute and asks if she can join the Masked Circle. They say yes. She says, "Thanks. Hey, want to see something? It's a chant that's rumored to let you be able to see your future self." Lisa asks what it is, and she says, "Well, it's called the Persona game," and into flashback. So that's why the gang can use personas. They did play the Persona game, and as we know, every character in the Persona series who can summon a persona totally played the Persona game.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, so I love that these first two games are very much sequels to each other and very much have to follow the same rules, and that's why they're describing how they actually did the Persona game. And then the next three games that don't do that at all still like reference these two games as existing in the world, and it's like, is pulling out a fake gun and shooting yourself in the head playing the Persona game? Because that's what we did in the next one.
They really got the personas really got lax in their membership criteria. Frankly, you have to go through this whole ritual. Now you just have to have depression.
It seems like,
and that's not specifically reference to the gun thing in Persona 3. I'm just saying every character Persona 3, 4, and 5 has depression.
Yes.
So it seems like Igor took over Philemon's role in between 2 and 3. I guess Philemon retired. Maybe Igor was just like, we're going to give away personas just to anyone who has depression and is a teen.
Cliff. Not even counting it.
Because like in Persona 3, they all like sign a contract too, and then by the time you get to Persona 4, it's like, nah, this person just has good character design, so I gave them a persona. They deserve it.
You remember being cool.
Give a fucking dog a persona.
It's a cool dog, and it's
a really cute dog.
Wait. What? As someone who has not played 4 and 5 and barely played 3, what?
In Persona 3, there's a party member who's a dog, and he has a persona.
Gets weird. You get a dog.
I know that there's a robot. Yeah, I know about the robot because the internet loves her. But what?
Yeah, the dog is real cute. The dog is in our Discord.
Amazing.
Yeah, our Discord bot that I was making from the ground up, I was Aegis from Persona 3 and was doing all of our robot-y things. And then because I made Aegis, I made Koromaru, and all you had to do was say his name, and he would show up, bark, and ask for pets. And it would happen all the time because we were like playing the game back then. But I lost that when I got a new computer, so I need to rebuild Koromaru.
Rip.
The gang continues their somber journey through the cave until they reach another reflecting pool and another flashback. Big Sis is telling the kids that her family's moving. She had had so much fun playing with them that she couldn't bring herself to tell them. The kids are distraught. Lisa says members of the Masked Circle have a promise to always stay together, and Big Sis lied to them. Aikichi says, "Pizza-kun, you're the boss today, right? Order her not to go. June, you gotta say something. Are you gonna just let Big Sis go away?" Totinos and June remain silent. Lisa says, I won't let you go. If we lock Big Sis in the shrine until tomorrow, she won't be able to go." Lisa can't bear to watch anymore in the reflecting pool. She asks Totinos if he remembers now. She says she killed Big Sis. Aikichi says it was all his fault. He was so scared of what he had done that he tried to convince himself it was all a dream. Lisa says, I knew. Ever since I heard the name Masked Circle, I started to remember that what happened was real. The last 10 years I had hoped it was all just a bad dream. Eventually I couldn't tell what was real anymore. I began to think it had all been in my head. Yukino asks what happened next. Lisa says, we locked Big Sis in the shrine. Tatsuya was against it until the end. That's why we put him in, too. Aikichi says, we thought if she spent one night in there, she wouldn't be able to move away. We were such dumb kids. It didn't make much sense. Lisa says, when we came back the next day, the shrine had burned to the ground. Aikichi says, June, Ginkgo, and me, we hid our masks in the secret hideout, crying our eyes out, and made one last rule never to meet again. Way later, I heard a rumor that Totinos had been stabbed by the arsonist, but lived. Still, I didn't dare show my face. You tried to protect our Big Sis to the very end, but I killed her. Lisa says Big Sis is actually alive. Aikichi asks what she means. She says, when the shrine burned down and it became a huge deal, I had my dad call the police, but they said no bodies were found. Yukino says, that means Big Sis is still alive, so that's good. Lisa says, no, it isn't. Don't you see? Big Sis is Joker. Maya says, so you finally remembered your sin. That's right. I'm alive. I posed as one of your team to get my revenge. I was only waiting for you to remember everything.
I didn't realize that she was Palpatine.
She is.
Very good.
Somehow, Palpatine returned and is a hot girl now.
You haven't even seen that movie, which is good. You shouldn't.
Wait, no, that movie's not good. That movie sucks.
No, I'm saying it's good that Ron hasn't seen it.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. I was like, what?
Yeah, he has a lot of spicy Star Wars takes, but that is not one of them.
The funny thing about that movie is the only thing that's spicy about my opinion on that movie is the only difference is like whether you think it's really funny. We all came together. It's like, do you think that movie's bad, or do you think that's the worst movie you've ever seen in your life? But hey, at least we're all kind of on the same page, you know?
Yeah, it's close.
Or Galaxy Brain Bernard just, was a little busy, didn't see it on opening night, didn't see it the next day, eventually heard how terrible it was, and never saw it.
Honestly, it's the right decision.
Lucky man.
I might never see it.
That would be good.
Anyway, somehow Palpatine returned.
So Palpatine attacks with her persona. Lisa begs for forgiveness. Maya says that they'll have to suffer the same terror she experienced. She goes to strike again, but the real Maya appears and blocks her attack. Fake Maya says, that's impossible. My cohorts should have dealt with you by now. But real Maya says, a heroine can't go down that easy, right? That Maya's an imposter, probably caused by those terrorist rumors. She's a spy from the Masked Circle. Fake Maya is pissed at her evil plan being foiled. Joker appears for the first time in a really long time. For being the main antagonist of this game, he does not show up much. I guess he isn't the main antagonist. The main antagonist is the Fuhrer, I guess. Fake Maya hands Joker a skull as he says, my plan to make them believe you were the one who died and drowned them in despair has been ruined. Leave now, that is, if you value your life. Maya says, I'm sorry, but I can't do that, June. I'm alive. You don't have to suffer anymore. Joker says, stop. That's impossible. Totinos killed you. Maya says, there's no reason why you and Totinos-kun should fight. Wait, did I say Tatsuya in the last text box?
Not the last text box, but a couple text boxes ago.
Fuck. Yeah. I've been trying to say Totinos consistently.
It's okay.
There's no reason why you and Totinos-kun should fight. Remember that night at the park? It was as if you two were... Joker yells at Fake Maya to kill her. Fake Maya attacks, and we have our first hard boss fight of the game. Our starting personas are not cutting it anymore. It would be really helpful if we got upgraded ones soon.
Yeah, so specifically, if you have not if you haven't done any persona switching to like doing packs, like I did, because I didn't do that. I had all the regular personas. This boss fight's fucking ridiculous because she has a move called Diamond Dust that will take out more than half of 2 of your party's HP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of digging into the mechanics and having a lot of fun with it. But also having a lot of fun with it does not imply understanding or skillful use. So I also thought this battle was very difficult. I don't remember exactly. I did beat it in one try, but I don't remember exactly what my exact loadout and stuff at the time was. But it wasn't particularly good or smart.
So initially, I didn't realize that we were just playing up to the end of this whole section. I thought we were doing 2 dungeons like usual. So I finished this boss fight, and I went to save afterwards, and I accidentally hit load save state, which was right before the boss fight.
Oh.
So I had to then go through and do the boss fight a second time. Oh, it was bad.
The worst time that's ever happened to me is I got lucky with critical hits and things like that, and I beat the boss no problem first time, and then I accidentally loaded my save state, and then could not whatsoever for the life of me ever beat it again. And it's took 6 tries on my retries, and it sucks. Didn't happen to me this week. This week I died right outside of where the boss even was supposed to be, and I hadn't saved yet this entire week, so I did not fight the boss.
One thing about save states, and I learned this when I was a young child, when I was first getting into emulators. One time, me and my friend played through a large portion of a Mario RPG. No, that's a different memory. Whatever, some game, and pretty far in, we accidentally hit the load state button. Here's the thing: we were kids. We didn't know what save states were. So at some point, we must have accidentally done a save state early in the game. So then late in the game, we accidentally hit the load state button, and we're like, why have we been warped back to the beginning of the game? And that was that. So ever since then, it's always been dangerous. With save states, it's like, you either are using them constantly, like anytime you save your game for real, you gotta
That's
also
what I do.
save state.
That's what I
or
do.
You just never use them. And sometimes I just never use them because I'm so worried about doing that, about accidentally owning myself in that way.
Well, the save states are also how I managed to cheese through the boss fight the second time, because I realized really her only problem is that freaking Diamond Dust move. And if you just save state before you activate your turn, and then you do it, and if she does Diamond Dust, you can just reload and she might not do it next time.
So I was using starting personas for this boss, and I feel like I understand the mechanics of this game. I just cannot have any success with demon negotiation in this game. So I can't get any cards. So, I can't get new personas. I was successful once and got enough cards to make a baby super bad persona. And I made that persona and gave it Posmudi so I could cure poison. That's the only persona I've summoned.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the only guide for this game is horrible. And when you look up how to do anything, it's just you should just use this super awesome min-max special move that you've been following along this guide since the beginning for. So you obviously know what it is and understand me. And I don't at all. So I feel very lost. And the random mobs were kicking my ass a lot this week too. And I was like, I'm going to have to figure out how to fucking play this game by next week, because this is hard. But thankfully, we don't have to. They give us new personas.
Yes.
They give you new personas, which are cool. But I will say, I don't know how far any of you have gotten past where we stopped, because I thought we were doing the next whole dungeon. The SP cost on the new Persona's moves is so high that you have to be careful because you will run through your entire bar in like 2 battles.
Shit.
Wow. Okay.
It's all of the moves cost, I think, over 25 SP.
Damn.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean they're good. It's really good to have an upgrade in Personas.
Well, anyway.
We don't have those for this boss fight though.
Nope.
And also, you don't get the upgraded Personas if you didn't choose the right dialogue options for some characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am nervous to get there to that point because I know that I chose the wrong thing with Lisa because I did the whole side dungeon that I loved, and I'm like, this is great. I'm having a great time in this game, and now I'm like, oh fuck, Lisa's gonna suck for the rest of this fucking game.
Mm-hmm. After the fight, Fake Maya and Joker are gone. The gang hugs and cries for a while. The ghost appears. Maya says she's another false Maya born of a rumor. The ghost says, I just wanted to tell you about Jun-kun in your place, since you forgot everyone because of how awful that fire was. Jun-kun is also suffering from false memories. I could only watch as he changed. Please save him. The butterfly appears again and warps the gang into Philemon's gazebo again. He congratulates the gang for their growth and grants them upgraded personas if we've made the right choices. Except Yukino, since she didn't really go through a big growth just now, and I wondered if I made a wrong choice with her. But then the movie version I watched to make my notes and take screenshots and stuff, Yukino also didn't get her persona there, so I think she just doesn't get a persona at the upgraded persona at this point.
She doesn't have the opportunity yet.
Yeah.
Philemon says, Now, as you have seen, your old friend is tormented by false memories. He sought to use rumors for his own ends, but has been swallowed by them, and is acting to fulfill mankind's ultimate dream. Such was not Jun Kurosu's original desire. His mind is snared in rumors and is slowly becoming something inhuman. The Holy Cross is the Grand Cross, and Nahui-Olin is the world of the fifth sun. There is no time to lose before it perishes. If you wish to save your friend from the clutches of the crawling chaos who toys with man's fate, go to the Caracol.
Can I ask something? Because I genuinely can't tell if I just missed something. Is this the first time we've heard Jun's name, or that Jun has been seen or talked about?
In these flashbacks, yes. Well, the first time we've heard his name was in one of the flashbacks this week, but we saw him in a flashback long ago where he and Totino's had treasures their dads had given them, and they swapped them.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like an NPC at either of the schools that we could have run into or something. Okay, good.
No.
I also did not get... Yeah, I also think that that's not the case and that this is just some other character.
Okay, I was just very confused because the way the game was handling it, I was feeling like, wait, is this supposed to be a twist because I already knew this guy?
Mm.
No.
Okay, good. Glad that we're on the same page then.
No, we don't know this guy. The gang finds himself back in Alaya's shrine. They are filled with determination to save Jun. Yukino gets a call from Tamaki, who's freaking out about something in the sky. The gang rushes outside and sees planes flying overhead, dropping robots and mechs on the city. That's bad. Tamaki confirms the invasion is the last battalion. Then Okamura wrests the phone from her and says, Kashihara said that the basis of the Caracol ruins at Chichen Itza are at Mount Katatsumuri. The last battalion is after the Rings of Time at the Caracol. If the Rings of Time are set in motion, the world, you must get to the Caracol at once. Don't let them near the rings. Now there are rings. Yukino says, Did you say Mount Katatsumuri? Shunsuke-san's at the temple there. If anything happens to him, I'll... Maya says, Calm down, Yuki. Fuji-san can take care of himself, right? Rescuing him is just one more reason to hurry. She also says that if that's where the last battalion is headed, Jun should be there too. With our destination set and the clock ticking, we prepare to go around the city casually chatting up every NPC next week.
That's fucking right. Let's absolutely goddamn go. Yeah, also, I gotta say, I think this would be a job for Wolfenstein guy, personally.
Yes.
They should call him. He's great. I knowingly actually could, I think the last, 2 minutes trying to remember the dude's name.
Can I share...
Blazkowicz.
Right.
Can I share a pro tip with you guys that I learned for this next section? Just if you want to level up your new personas, you want a good way to grind them, just spamming their abilities over and over again. The beginning area of the next dungeon, one of the most common enemies you can fight, take full damage, take normal damage from all elemental moves.
Ooh.
And so you can and they give a lot of XP. So you can just grind on them.
Nice.
Nice.
And you'll be killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Love to get those Nazis.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of other things that we love, let's talk about our memorable moments.
My favorite thing about this game so far is that this whole time we've had clearly there's been something fucked up with the main character's memories, and it's like, ooh, what's going on? But the thing that messed up their memories wasn't magic or demons or aliens or any of the other shit it could have been in this game. It was just trauma.
That is nice.
I think that's so cool.
I really liked it too.
I'm trying to think if there's another game I can think of that does that. I feel like there is, but I don't know what it is. So neat.
Yeah, no, that was I think a really neat touch. Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, sort of. Xenogears, the trauma caused him to his psyche just split into 3 different people. But but that's the only other example I can think of. One of my memorable moments is in that first area, after that first little bit where you learn all this stuff about, oh no, we're learning all about with talking with Miss Ideal. And then you can go around the town, there's new dialogue. At that point, if you try to go to Maya's place, she's like, we can't go in. I forgot my keys. I don't know where they are. Which is cool. Yeah, and then also if you try to have her talk to a monster, she's not in the mood to. She's not in the mood for it. Which is just really neat. Obviously, I knew something was up. I did not expect she was literally an evil in disguise all along. I figured, she's just turned bad or something. She's being possessed or something. But no, it's this is literally just not Maya at all. So yeah, she's just I don't have the keys on me. I don't know why. I guess I forgot the keys. I thought that was really cute.
My 2 memorable moments are, I really like throughout the whole cave as stuff starts getting revealed, Aikichi gets really emotionally vulnerable in a lot of scenes that I was just not expecting his character to go that way, and it's honestly kind of redeemed his character for me, which I wasn't expecting. I specifically screenshotted when you go to get Totino's mask, I will say. If you talk to Aikichi in that room, he talks about how the you he knew as a kid was way more energetic, and that he thinks it's his fault that you became so distant, and that his words could never be enough, but he has to apologize and say he's sorry. And it's it just was good and weird to just see this much openness and emotional honesty from Aikichi. I really loved it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe it might be in that same room. I actually took a series of screenshots and I shared them as I can't remember the name for what you'd call this, but a post on Tumblr. There's a really interesting thing with the Shadow Maya, where I'll just read out because I think it's neat. You can talk to Shadow Maya and she'll say, "Do you know what the most convenient phrase in the world is? It's 'I'm sorry.'
Anyone who hears that is obligated to forgive, no matter how hurt or angry they may be. There's no more disgusting phrase in all the world. It's used to displace your suffering onto others so you can escape your sins. The moment you employ it, your suffering becomes the other person's. A thing can be unforgivable, but if they apologize, I say there's no reason to accept that suffering. You don't have to forgive them. Cast aside the mask of your conscience. And if you talk to Yukino in the room, she says, "I'm sorry" is a disgusting phrase? I don't think so. It's hard to explain, but we coexist by forgiving and being forgiven. It's what do you call it? A social contract, right? And I don't know. I just thought that was a really weird, randomly interesting and kind of deep discussion.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. And the thing about it is both sides have a very good point. Like, things aren't... I feel like I've had this conversation like 5 times in the last couple of days. Most of the time when it comes to the way the society works, whether it's societal systems, governments, organizational structures, social norms, relationships, there's usually not rules about there's usually not a solid this good, this bad. Because if it was, actually I was saying this yesterday to somebody, the problem is that humans aren't robots. We're not computer programs. We can't just follow a set of rules and everything's fine, right? We are in fact very complicated, weird things with emotions that suck, right? And because of that, no rule is ever going to take the place of the unfortunately much more difficult and time-consuming and emotionally exhausting work of communicating with someone else and building trust, working through things, living in a society, understanding yourself and your place in it, understanding other people. And, so I'm sorry is simultaneously forgiveness is one of the most beautiful things in the whole world. It's very, very, very important. And also, you definitely have people who will do exactly what Shadow Maya is saying here and use it in a offensive, or use it in a way that is like a cudgel, right? Where you're always reverting something back onto you now have you're engendering that sympathy because you just need to be forgiven, and it's just no, those are both true because you can't just say this thing's bad or this thing's good. This thing exists in the context of human to human interaction, which is always just going to be annoyingly sticky. Pretty cool to see a game just acknowledge that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think a good example of that kind of area where it becomes messy and murky is a thing I will always kind of point. I've heard many people point out, a lot of us trans people, is when someone gets your pronouns wrong and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and it's like, please don't apologize for that because that kind of puts the onus on us to be like, "Oh no, it's okay."
Just soothe your feelings.
Yeah, it's not my job to soothe your feelings for getting that wrong. Just do better next time.
Yeah, also, frankly, how I'm going to feel when someone does that depends on how I feel about that person.
Yeah.
I can go from extremely annoyed and want to leave to literally could not care less. If it's someone that I know is super supportive of me and not a bigot or whatever. And usually it's someone who knew you before you transitioned, right? It's oh, right, they had a slip because their brain memories got in the way. I literally could this person rules and I have no issue with that. You know what I mean? As opposed to hey, fuck you, buddy. And it's it's not about the rules of do this or don't do that. It's about the the subjective element, the relationship, and annoying. It does make things a lot more difficult though. But
yeah.
The difficulty is the whole point of being a human being.
Yeah, Shadow Maya says stuff that is both wrong and real shit a lot.
Yep.
I saw this line posted on social media at times or something. I don't know. I just knew the line when I saw it, but she says, "Real life isn't a video game. You can't just press the reset button. The sins you've committed will never disappear." And I thought that was just a really surprisingly direct line, and it's sort of true, but also it doesn't give space for forgiveness, which sometimes should be granted.
Yeah.
I loved that line, but I loved it especially because after I died and had to go and finish watching on the Let's Play, that was the very next text box. So when I loaded up,
Damn,
I'm like,
is this Undertale?
I'm like, so what's up? And she's like, yeah, you got a game over and you had to restart. You can't watch the Let's Play of your life, Sam. You can't fucking do this in the real world. Go and do better. Cast a status spell, for fuck's sake. Which, to be fair, I still have not cast a single status spell.
At some point, this game is going to look directly at you and say it'll sort of do an Earthbound and it somehow knows your name. It'll look at you and be like, Sam, you can't just coast through your life without understanding things. You have to cast a fucking status spell at some point in your life, Sam Allman.
But yeah, anyone else have any other mem moms?
I just like how deranged this week got right off the bat.
I have just one. You actually already mentioned this. You looped in a lot of my favorite parts during the recap, but you already said this too. But I wanted to just put a pin on this phrase I really liked. The phrase, what is that first part? First part is not as important, but the kind resolve and concrete dreams. Praising a person, complimenting a person, like where you're trying to really, really express how you think very highly of them by saying that they have concrete dreams. I just find that to be a very beautiful phrase, especially for a game that's all about dreams. And I'm like, what are my dreams? And are they like concrete enough? You know? And I guess, I don't know, oftentimes when you think of dreams, you think of idealism, which is funny because of this week. Idealism and pie in the sky, but like, and concrete just implies such, not just real, like, yeah, it's real, it's not like an imaginary thing, it's like achievable, but also like concrete itself, like it's firm, it's sturdy, like, it makes you think of like brutalism or whatever.
It's not
right?
A frivolous dream, it's a concrete dream.
Yeah, I think it implies both the realness of the dream, but also a bit of the commitment to achieving it, you know? And I guess kind resolve is also a very, very lovely phrase. I don't know. I read those 4 words in order and I'm just like, goals, TBH? I would feel really good if someone described me using those words.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I looked, since I had a screenshot of that line, it's Kashihara was a kind man with a strong resolve and concrete dreams.
Strong resolve. Okay. Kind resolve, actually, I think is better. But strong resolve is also good.
But yeah, I wish I had concrete dreams. I don't know what my dreams are.
My dreams aren't concrete. They're more like that, like slurry of stuff that might one day become concrete.
Well, my dreams, if we're talking about when you go to sleep, my dreams are... The other day I had a dream that I was trying to flush rats down a toilet, and it wasn't working.
This is every time you try to flush rats down the toilet. I will say I will say my dreams have gotten a lot more concrete in the last year, which is cool. It's a cool feeling, you know, to have be like, oh yeah, I used to really yearn for this, and now I have it a little bit more than I did before, which is, you know, nice. But we're all on a journey here. Also, there's another line of dialogue in the Velvet Room about, again, deranged Maya. She's really good. About how ideally is humanity's 6th stage. And then she goes on to something like, you know, you become like God, you ascend mentally, you lose all your you become a higher stage of being or whatever. But calling it humanity's 6th stage is really neat. Is there any other reference to that?
No. Okay, cool. I was watching the movie version to get screenshots and to review to take my notes, and that really stood out to me. So I watched like a lot more, but I don't think there's any other reference in this what we played this week to it being the 6th stage of humanity.
That feels like a very Shin Megami Tensei thing, from what I understand about that series.
Oh, for
Yes.
sure. What gets me about that is I feel like it's got to be one of two things. Like, not too unlikely they just pull the number out of their ass. Like, yeah, humanity is advancing through stages, and this is the 6th and final one. I guess you could say 6 is one short of 7, which would give it a sort of demonic nature if we're doing like Christian numerology here. Does that extend back into like Judaism? I don't know. I don't know if that's part of their beliefs as well, or it's just if it's Christian invention. But so it could have just been like a number, like, hey, how many stages does humanity have? I don't know, 6. But it also, like it could have just been 4 or 7, depending on what the writer was feeling at the moment. But it could also be like an esoteric reference to something, right? Some philosophical thing. I mean, a lot of this stuff is very like Hegel, and maybe Hegel does believe in like humanity having stages, but I don't know if it's 6 or not because, frankly, fuck Hegel. Frankly, it's kind of annoying. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm interested to see if it was just a number they made up, or if the writer was thinking of something when they wrote it, or if it's SMT thing. That could also be the case.
Yeah, I do actually have one other memorable moment. There's a point when they're talking about Joker after we now know who he is, and they talk about the idea that the fact that he's been playing with rumors so much and actively using what's going on with that to bend reality has just more and more unraveled his connection to any sort of reality. And I find that a really interesting thematic concept, that like the more you make your own, the way you see reality more malleable, the more you just can't be like, it gets to a point where you can't actually talk to this person because facts don't matter to them, and I feel like there's kind of a progression there from, you have the way that the rumors thing is used throughout the game. You have this idea that the starting thing, I really like the idea we talked about a little bit, it's really easy for your childhood memories to get just completely muddled and to just forget things or to be completely unsure if they happened or not. And then to use that as a basis and get a wrong conclusion out of it, and to hold that really tightly as like a thing you think happened. And then he just keeps going forward this, and he's realizing that he can just, alter reality with the right way, just by doing the right stuff, until it gets to the point of conspiracy theories. Like, I think the fact the game purposely is tying in conspiracy theories at the same time it's doing this, I feel like there's a point to that there, of when you reach that point of like, oh, okay, like, sure, fucking the Nazis, Hitler went to South America and never really died, and he built giant robots, and he has the Lance of Longinus and all these things. It's like, that's just like that. You reach a point of conspiracy theorist of, you are just completely untouched from reality. Like, there is just nothing anyone can say to you logically to break you out of it, because you can always just judo your way out of it by just being like, oh, well, that didn't happen. Oh, well, that's not real evidence.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying as well, that like, I don't think we've arrived at the point yet. Like, there's a triangle drawn between dreams, which are a recurring theme, rumors, which are a recurring theme, and like you mentioned, like, or sort of, let's say the broader idea of like a socially like social consensus about like reality, basically.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, which is about, like you said, conspiracy theories. Those are sort of 3 separate tracks that the game has. Those are obviously all like, well, coming from the same cloth conceptually.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as where the game's going to go with it. What's funny to me is that, again, this game is like has this fantastical element where this stuff is not just metaphorical but also is real. And so far, that has not resulted in, I don't think, any additional insight into the concept. So I'm wondering if it's going to be like, yeah, we took these ideas, we're going to play with them, and then, oh, what if it was real? What if it was an exaggerated version of a social reality where social reality can literally like make Hitler still be alive, and we're just exaggerating that so that we can have a fun, fantastical video game? Or if that exaggeration, if that logical endpoint is going to eventually result in some sort of some ultimate point to it, right? I'm curious.
Yeah, I would like to see if they have more to say about it. I just feel like the fact that that is what is specifically happening right now, at the same time they're describing the fact that Joker is over time getting more and more just completely disconnected from what reality even is. I feel like there's something, there is a connection there in some level.
Mm-hmm. I feel like thematically things are sort of coming to a head, and I find it interesting that there's a whole second game after this, and I'm interested to see if the second game explores new themes or if they do. I'm just really interested to see what the second game is.
Oh, me too.
Especially because, like, this game's kind of at, like, a breakneck pace type thing. Like, it, unlike Personas 3, 4, and 5, like, you're not doing the same thing over and over again. You are, like, it's the story develops each week where new things are going on, and if we do that for 2 straight games, like, I'm not even going to recognize the game that we're playing at the end of the second one. I think it's just going to be crazy different.
I have a feeling either the second one will be a very direct continuation of the first one, like it'll just pick up where it left off, go, or it will be something completely different, completely new ideas and themes and stuff, just with characters in common.
We'll find out, but more importantly, next week, we fight Nazis.
Yes.
Yeah. Also important is the fact that I have been breaking down this Xbox One controller instead of getting ready for my outro. So forgive me while I... So, I think that will do it for the week. If you like what you heard, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate, help us keep the lights on around these parts, help us pay for games, help us expand and do more cool stuff. And when you donate, you get access to our book club No Kaseki episodes a month before everybody else. You can vote on our polls to say what game we're playing next for the main podcast, and you also unlock the next shortcast or longcast bonus series, which, because we got so behind when I had Storm, it's basically just always been there, but those will eventually run out. We will eventually catch back up. But so to keep unlocking more of those, your donations do that. We now have membership tiers. So the basic tier is $1 a month, gets everything above. But then we also have a $5 tier where I will read out your name at the end of every episode. So shout outs to Cerebral Wind, Anthony Lerma, Vimk, Jfro Prime, Eli Bergmas, Doho, and Tuxedo Ken. And then we also have the Luminary tier, which for $20 a month, we will not only read your name, but shout out a 1 to 2 sentence shout out of your choosing. Our current Luminary, Carr, is a dentist, so his shout out is to brush your teeth twice a day, especially before you go to bed at night. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye.